this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Women respond to connection more than anything. More than anything. Now this is getting deeper because, in these spaces, there's a lot talked about, the bait. How a man looks and, even now we'll talk about body game and other stuff. But I'm gonna tell you what, if you really pay attention, there's some guys out there that you might not think have that great bait. Might not look like they go to the gym, might not look like they over 6 feet, yet they getting women. One of the things I found with each one of them, they could easily connect with women. Because the bait just gets them over there. The bait just gets them over there, and it's very important. Let's not get that twisted. It's very important to get them over there. But what do I always say? The women will say he was all right till he opened his mouth. That's where the connection comes in. That's where really the mouthpiece comes in. That's where, like, the woman, do you click with the woman? Do you click? Do your personalities click? Because that's a lot of times, that's how a lot of guys will get the women. Like if you talk to quite a few women, they weren't like had a strong physical attraction at first to some of the men they with. Some of the men they did, some of the men they with. You have to really look at them and say, well, hold up. She wasn't attracted to him at first. But then there was that connection. All of a sudden, he started looking better to them. He started looking better. And all of a sudden, that's because he managed to get a connection. He was in a place where he could talk to that woman on a consistent basis. All of a sudden, she's saying, well, yeah, no, he ain't that tall, but he makes me laugh. Or he ain't, he ain't like super lean or something. He could stand to lose some weight. But you know what? He's very smart. Whatever the woman is looking for. Because remember, I've said that several times. Every woman still got a personality. They still looking for something specific. Even when I've talked about the house of the man and the woman. Because I said, like with the house of the woman, I said some women, they might be looking for that more paternal man. But see, the only way they're going to find out is if they have a connection with him. Or they're looking for that more intellectual man. That's the only way. The only way they're going to find out they have a connection. Or he on that hustle. They typically ain't going to see him working his business. But if he talking with them, they on that hustle too, and they talking about business, and they have a 3-hour conversation talking about business. And the party thing, well, they might could tell that, but even then, they still have to talk with that man, have a conversation to see if he's on that level. Whatever the woman, whatever her needs are, she's ultimately looking for a man to click with. Now, let me be very clear. You still want to fix up as best as possible. You still want to have that bait as best as possible. But see, that's just the bait. That gets them over there. You still have to make the connection. There's plenty of guys, and they'll say, that's why you got this whole handsome man game out here. You got some guys, they'll say, well, I'm handsome and all of that. You're not connecting with the woman. And they respond to that connection because understand something. One of the things that move women is emotion. If they're around a guy, they always smile and they always feel good. That connection makes them feel good. They always feel good around that man. As long as he ain't too bad, they'll find a way to get to him. He can get to them. They'll find a way. All of a sudden, he started looking better to them. All of a sudden, some of the stuff that might not have been good bait or so-so bait, all of a sudden, that's not as important as it once was. That's because they have a connection to him. So, they respond to that. Now, that's very important now because you do have some guys and they'll focus on the bait. They'll focus on the bait and still wonder why they ain't getting a woman. Because they're not making a connection. And it's not even so much as a mouthpiece, because when people talk about a mouthpiece, they mean like some words or something that'll turn her on. No, just a regular conversation. Just a regular conversation. because they looking for somebody they click with personality-wise. That's it. That's it. I remember when I did this radio show way back in the day, had this player on there. He hadn't written a book. He had just been somebody who had called in all the time. And we had talked for about 5 minutes on the air about just a man clicking with a woman. That's very important. That connection. All of a sudden, and it usually ain't instant. It might take a while. Guy gotta have like a little bit of patience and everything, you know. But here's the thing: you don't try, because as I said before, you can't make a woman like you. You just showing her who you are. And see, that connection is actually good for a man too, because the woman that connects with a man is the one most likely to be in cooperation with his operation. Because regardless of what he's feeling, what he's doing, the real connection is not just for her, but for him. He wants a woman down for his program, but she has to feel connected. Not just because she looks good and stuff. That's how a lot of guys get caught up. They get caught up in a bad situation. They get that woman that looks good, but not really connected with them. You know, indeed, that's why you get some men, they'll marry that woman. But then find out the hard way she's got some masculine energy. They found out the hard way she's controlling. They find out the hard way she's trying to break him down and everything. He don't even want to go home. All of a sudden, that woman that work at that coffee shop that don't look as good, all of a sudden starts to look real good to him. That's why some men will get with a woman and some guys be like, well, why are you with her? They connected. And that's very important. That's very important to understand, you know? Then that's just something with women. They ain't just based on some looks. Men, that might be men, but women, they looking at looks, but then they also looking at their heart connection, you know, and then on some level, they also pragmatic. They look at a whole bunch of things when they deal with a man, you know, and that connection, however it comes about, they respond to that. Like I said, I've talked to like scores of women over the years. And yeah, they'll say, yeah, they want this one muscular, tall guy, handsome and everything, but then end up hooking up with this guy who ain't got none of that. But they have a good connection with him. I've seen them cry over that type of man because they had a good connection with him. They had a very good connection with him. That's important to understand. Now, that's something that you want to develop. Yeah, you still want to work on your bait. You still want to work on body game. You want to let the barber bless you. You know, you want to dress right. I'm going to talk about that more in the next sit down. But you still have to connect to them. The bait just gets them over there. What are you going to say to them? You know, what are you going to talk about? That's why I tell men, practice saying hi to at least 3 women a day. That will develop the skill, okay? So, that's all I have for right now. I want y'all to think about that, okay? And I'll get back with y'all later. Peace and blessings.